Known famed gator hunter Troy Landry of the show Swamp People has found himself in a little bit of hot water.
Louisiana Wildlife and Fishery agents cited him after an undercover.
The cast of Swamp People captured America's attention not with glitz or glamour, but with grit, tradition, and the raw reality of life in the Louisiana bayou.
A Brandon woman returns for another season of Swamp People. Ashley Deadeye Jones stars in season 11.
What started as a simple reality show became a cultural phenomenon, showcasing not just alligator hunting, but the values of family, survival, and legacy. Over the years, fans have laughed, worried, and mourned alongside their favorite swamp hunters. And while some faces have remained constant, others have disappeared, faced hardship, or reinvented themselves entirely. In this documentary, we explore where these memorable figures are now, and how their lives have changed since the cameras first started rolling. Troy Landry has been synonymous with Swamp People since its earliest episodes. Known as the King of the Swamp, Troy was born in 1960 in Louisiana and raised in the thick of Cajun country. His early life revolved around the swamp, learning from elders, navigating bayou waters, and living off the land. When the History Channel launched Swamp People, Troy's calm authority, sharp instincts, and family-first values made him the show's foundation. Over the years, Troy has remained a consistent presence, even as other cast members have come and gone. However, in recent times, he's had to confront serious personal challenges. In 2024, rumors of his death spread online, alarming fans. Troy later addressed the misinformation himself, confirming that he was alive and well. But the real emotional weight came not from rumors, but from a painful family reality. Troy revealed that his grandson, Crew, was born with a rare liver disease known as biliary atresia. It's a condition that affects infants and, if untreated, can lead to liver failure. Despite undergoing surgery, Crew's health did not improve. He now faces end-stage liver disease, and the family continues to wait for a liver transplant. Rather than retreat from the public, Troy used his platform to raise awareness about organ donation. Through Facebook updates and interviews, he shared Crew's progress, fundraising links, and calls for support. The Landry family's openness struck a chord with fans, many of whom rallied with messages, prayers, and donations to assist with rising medical costs. Troy remains active in the swamp, still filming for the show, and continues to balance his public role with his private responsibilities. He remains a pillar of strength, not just in the series, but within the bayou community itself. Jacob Landry, Troy's eldest son, has followed in his father's footsteps, both literally and symbolically. Born in 1983 in Pierre Part, Louisiana, Jacob grew up absorbing the traditions of swamp life. By the time Swamp People aired, he was already deeply skilled in gator hunting, having trained alongside his father and younger brother, Chase. Throughout the series, Jacob has often been seen working hand-in-hand with Troy, and in more recent seasons, he's partnered with Little Willie Edwards. This pairing introduced a fresh energy to the show, blending seasoned expertise with youthful grit. But Jacob's story extends far beyond the bayou. He is married to Lindsay Landry, and together they are raising 2 sons. On social media, Jacob frequently shares touching moments with his children, including scenes of teaching his oldest son the basics of hunting. These glimpses offer fans a rare view of swamp tradition being passed from one generation to the next. As of 2025, Jacob continues to be a staple on Swamp People. He juggles his roles as father, husband, and professional hunter with a quiet steadiness that mirrors his father's influence. His dedication to family and preservation of Cajun heritage has earned him not only respect from fans, but also admiration from within his community. Chase Landry, the youngest of the Landry brothers, was born on April 25, 1989. Unlike Jacob, Chase initially stayed out of the spotlight. But it wasn't long before his natural talent for high-stakes hunting brought him into the fold. First appearing in the show's second season, Chase quickly made a name for himself as a daring, fearless presence on the water. Whether navigating through thick swamp or sprinting after aggressive gators, his scenes delivered some of the series' most intense and unpredictable moments. But Chase's life hasn't been confined to the swamp. He launched a seafood restaurant called Chasin' Tales in his hometown of Pierre Part. The business has done well, drawing locals and tourists alike with its menu of Cajun seafood and down-home atmosphere. The venture shows Chase's entrepreneurial side, offering a glimpse of life beyond the hunting boat. However, his off-screen life has not been without controversy. In 2017, Chase was involved in a legal incident that made headlines. While on the water, he fired a warning shot at a fast-approaching shrimp boat, believing it posed a danger to his vessel. Unfortunately, the shot struck the boat, leading to charges of illegal discharge of a weapon. Chase was issued a court date in December of that year, but reportedly did not appear, prompting authorities to issue a warrant for his arrest. The matter was later resolved, though details remain limited. Despite the incident, Chase continues to appear on the show and remains actively involved in his local community. On a personal level, he is a proud father to Riley Blake Landry, and although he is more private than his brother or father, he maintains a strong bond with family and the Bayou way of life. Cheyenne Pickle Wheat represents a newer generation of swamp hunters who have fully embraced the traditions while carving out a distinct presence of their own. Born on September 21, 1995 in Poydras, Louisiana, Pickle hails from a family deeply entrenched in gator hunting. Her great-grandfather was one of the original hunters in St. Bernard Parish, and she grew up learning the craft from her father. Pickle made her debut on Swamp People in Season 12, which premiered in 2021. Her no-nonsense approach and deep knowledge of the swamp quickly won over fans, making her one of the standout additions in recent years. Off-screen, Pickle has successfully launched a merchandise line, offering branded apparel and hunting gear that appeals to both fans and outdoor enthusiasts. She previously dated Chase Landry, though the relationship eventually ended. Later, she began dating Joshua Kippis, an emergency medical technician. In April of 2023, the couple welcomed their first child, a son. As of 2025, Pickle continues to juggle motherhood, swamp life, and public recognition with grace. She remains an active member of the Swamp People cast and has stayed true to her roots, embodying both tradition and forward momentum. As newer cast members began to carve their place in Swamp People history, they didn't just inherit the tools of the trade, they carried forward a way of life built on survival, resilience, and respect for the swamp. Among them, few have embraced that balance of tradition and modern influence more successfully than the rising stars who joined the show in later seasons. Bruce Mitchell has been one of the show's most recognizable faces from the start, known for his bandana, bearded smile, and calm confidence on the water. Born and raised in Louisiana, Bruce's life has always been tied to the swamp. Though rumors once circulated online about his death, they were unfounded. Bruce is very much alive and still connected to the show, though his appearances have become more limited in recent years. However, he did suffer a personal loss that deeply affected both him and longtime fans. His beloved dog Tyler, often referred to by fans as the Swamp Dog, passed away in 2014. Tyler was a Labrador Retriever who had appeared on the show from the very beginning, often riding in Bruce's boat during gator hunts and adding a comforting presence to tense scenes. Tyler had been battling congestive heart failure for several years before the condition ultimately took his life. Bruce was open about the pain of the loss, calling Tyler his best friend and thanking fans for their support during that time. Although Bruce has since slowed down, he still remains involved with public events and swamp demonstrations, keeping the culture alive for younger generations. Little Willie Edwards carries the legacy of his father, Junior Edwards, with quiet strength. While not the most vocal cast member, Willie has built a strong fan base thanks to his discipline, skill, and humble approach to hunting. He learned the trade from his father at an early age, growing up in the swamp and developing a deep knowledge of the water and its dangers. In more recent seasons, Willie has teamed up with Jacob Landry. The partnership has added a fresh dynamic to the show, one built on mutual respect, precise strategy, and family values. Unlike more flamboyant characters, Willie's style is calculated and deliberate. He rarely makes mistakes on the water, and when he does, he owns up to them quickly. Viewers have praised his calm demeanor and work ethic, qualities that have made him a quiet favorite among the newer generation of Swamp People fans. Glenn Gwist, brother to the late Mitchell Gwist, remains a symbol of endurance in the aftermath of personal loss. The Gwist brothers were beloved for their chemistry, humor, and old-school swamp wisdom when they joined the cast in 2011. They brought a different kind of energy to the show, less about big catches and more about the swamp lifestyle, trapping, fishing, and staying self-sufficient. Mitchell's sudden death in May of 2012 left a hole in the hearts of fans and devastated Glenn. He died from a heart attack while working on a houseboat just days before his 48th birthday. The tragedy shook the Swamp People community. An episode titled Voodoo Bayou was dedicated in his memory, and it remains one of the most emotionally powerful episodes in the series' history. After his brother's passing, Glenn chose to remain on the show for several seasons, continuing to live off the land as he always had. While his screen time has diminished in recent years, he has made occasional appearances, quietly preserving Mitchell's memory. Glenn's story is not one of reinvention, but of resilience. His continued presence in the series serves as a living tribute to the bond the brothers shared and the life they lived. Randy Edwards was another figure whose story ended too soon. Born on August 21, 1983, Randy was the son of Junior and Teresa Edwards and the younger brother of fellow hunter Willie Edwards. From the beginning, Randy showed a deep connection to swamp life, and he quickly earned his place in the cast with his confident demeanor and skill on the water. On September 15, 2018, tragedy struck. Randy was driving his Chevrolet Silverado through Iberville Parish, Louisiana at approximately 3 a.m. when he lost control of the vehicle. According to reports from the Louisiana State Police, his truck veered off the road and struck a utility pole. The impact caused the vehicle to flip, and Randy, who was not wearing a seatbelt, was ejected from the truck. He was pronounced dead at the scene. Authorities suspected alcohol as a contributing factor in the crash, though the full toxicology report was never publicly released. Randy's passing shocked both his family and the Swamp People fan community. He was just 35 years old at the time of his death, and his loss added to a growing list of tragedies that have followed the show's cast off camera. Despite his relatively short run on the show, Randy left a lasting impression with his sense of purpose and genuine bond with the land. Justin Gwist, cousin to Mitchell and Glenn, also met an untimely death in the bayou. On February 23, 2016, Justin was out on the water with family when the boat he was riding in struck a submerged object at high speed. The collision caused the boat to flip, and Justin was thrown into the water. His relatives immediately tried to locate and rescue him, but he never resurfaced. A day later, authorities recovered Justin's body approximately 3 miles from the site of the accident. The coroner ruled his cause of death as drowning. It is believed that he may have been knocked unconscious during the impact, making it impossible for him to swim to safety. He was 41 years old. Justin, like his cousin Mitchell, was known for being hardworking and deeply independent. He was often seen in earlier episodes living off the land and helping his family survive through traditional swamp skills. His sudden passing added another layer of grief for the Gist family, who had already endured so much. Fans remembered Justin for his calm spirit and the quiet courage he brought to every hunt. Bill Booth was another respected figure whose death came as a shock. Known for his quiet grit and deep knowledge of swamp terrain, Bill made a strong impression during his time on the show. He was not one of the louder or more media-focused cast members, but his steady hand and deep connection to the land made him a reliable presence in every scene he appeared in. On February 26, 2020, Bill was riding his ATV through a wooded trail in the Louisiana swamp when he lost control and collided with a tree. The crash caused serious injuries, and although he was rushed to the hospital, he passed away shortly afterward. Authorities believe poor visibility and high speed played a role in the accident. He was 53 years old. Bill's death was widely mourned by fans who appreciated his experience, focus, and no-nonsense approach to hunting. He wasn't flashy or dramatic. He was simply good at what he did. His legacy lives on through the many viewers who saw in him a reflection of the traditional swamp way of life. The losses experienced by the Swamp People cast are sobering. Each passing, whether from illness, accident, or misfortune, reminds fans that the danger of the swamp extends beyond the gators. It is a way of life that demands both physical and emotional toughness. And for those who remain, every trip into the bayou carries the memory of those who are no longer there. As Swamp People expanded over the years, so did its cast. The show began including new families, personalities, and regional hunters, each bringing their own history and dynamic to the bayou. Not all of them stayed in the spotlight. Some chose to leave quietly. Others were forced to walk away. A few experienced real-life events that dramatically reshaped their futures, far from the cameras and the fanfare. Liz Cavalier, known to viewers as Gator Queen Liz, was one of the earliest women on the show to stand shoulder to shoulder with male hunters and win fans over in the process. Born in Louisiana and raised in a tradition of gator hunting, Liz joined Swamp People in Season 2. Her grit, unapologetic style, and strong bond with her daughter Jessica made her one of the most watched hunters on the water. Liz brought a fierce energy to the series. She was bold in her strategies, didn't hesitate to confront danger, and was never overshadowed by her male counterparts. For several seasons, she helped redefine what female representation looked like in an industry and a show, typically led by men. But after Season 6, Liz was quietly dropped from the series. Though no official reason was ever given by the show's producers, Liz later hinted at creative disagreements and contract issues. Fans were disappointed by her absence and voiced their frustration online. In response, Liz embraced her own platform. She launched the Gator Queen Liz brand, hosted live events, and connected with followers through social media. She continues to live the hunting lifestyle and remains a respected figure in Louisiana's outdoor community, even without the spotlight of cable television. Christy Broussard, another woman who brought new energy to the cast, joined Swamp People in Season 3. A former U.S. Navy sailor, Christy stood out immediately, not just for her military background, but for her tenacity and deep familiarity with the swamp. Raised in South Louisiana, she had hunted gators long before her first appearance on screen. Her military training gave her a calm, under-pressure demeanor, which translated well in high-stakes gator hunts. She was often seen working alongside seasoned hunters, holding her own in tough terrain, and remaining composed even in the face of serious danger. Christy's arrival challenged many of the existing perceptions of who could thrive in the bayou, and how. After a few strong seasons, Christy eventually stepped away from the series. She returned to a quieter life in Acadiana, remaining active in outdoor culture, but largely stepping away from public attention. While she doesn't post frequently, her time on the show is still remembered by fans who appreciated her unique perspective and quiet strength. Tommy Chauvin, often referred to by fans as Trigger Tommy, brought a very different style to the Swamp People cast. Known for his long hair, tattoos, and rebellious edge, Tommy offered viewers a rugged contrast to the more traditional swamp hunters. He hunted alongside his stepfather, Joe LaFont, better known as Trapper Joe. The duo became a memorable part of the series in its earlier seasons. Their chemistry, built on humor and generational differences, resonated with viewers. Tommy was known for his speed, fearlessness, and unpredictable behavior on the water. His wild spirit earned him a loyal following, especially among younger fans. However, by Season 4, Tommy was noticeably absent. The reasons were never formally disclosed, but behind the scenes, Trapper Joe had faced legal issues involving a domestic battery charge in 2012. Although Tommy himself was not involved in that incident, their pairing was quietly phased out of the series. Since then, Tommy has kept a low profile, and little has been reported about his current whereabouts or career. His departure remains one of the quieter exits in the show's history, but his presence is still remembered by longtime fans. Ron Methvin, a professional sharpshooter and former Louisiana wildlife and fisheries agent, brought a military precision to the swamp. He appeared alongside Bruce Mitchell in later seasons, serving as both a partner and a steady hand during intense gator hunts. His law enforcement background added a layer of seriousness to the show's dynamic, especially when paired with Bruce's more laid-back personality. Ron's time on the show was defined by his accuracy, patience, and methodical approach to the hunt. He rarely wasted a shot and was praised for his composure in high-pressure moments. Off-camera, Ron maintained his role in wildlife enforcement, and his presence helped reinforce the idea that Swamp People wasn't just about thrills, it was also about safety, discipline, and responsibility. After several seasons, Ron quietly stepped away from the show. Reports suggest he returned to full-time wildlife enforcement duties, and he has since kept a low public profile. Fans occasionally ask about his status, but Ron seems to have preferred life outside of television, returning to a quieter version of the swamp life he helped protect. Daniel Edgar represents a different kind of character arc, one of longevity, humility, and quiet respect. Introduced in later seasons, Daniel quickly became a fan favorite due to his calm demeanor and old-school work ethic. A lifelong commercial fisherman, Daniel had already lived the swamp life long before the cameras found him. Unlike some of his co-stars, Daniel rarely raised his voice or appeared in the drama. Instead, he brought a sense of generational wisdom. His scenes often involved mentoring younger family members, including his sons Dwayne and Joey. Daniel's focus was always on the task at hand, catching gators, passing on knowledge, and maintaining the balance between survival and tradition. As of 2025, Daniel continues to appear on Swamp People, making him one of the longest-serving current cast members. While not flashy or confrontational, his steady presence has earned him deep respect among fans and fellow hunters alike. In a show full of high tension, Daniel reminds viewers what quiet leadership looks like. Not every face that entered the Swamp People cast stayed in the spotlight. As the seasons passed, the show introduced more hunters, each with their own stories and family legacies. Some stayed for only a short time, while others became regional icons. Whether on-screen briefly or across multiple seasons, their time on the show still gave viewers insight into different corners of Louisiana's bayou life. Dwayne Edgar, the son of Daniel Edgar, joined the series alongside his father and brother. He came with a commercial fishing background and a deep understanding of swamp life, having grown up in the industry. On screen, Dwayne had a strong work ethic, but often appeared reserved, especially compared to the more outspoken hunters around him. His dynamic with Daniel was one of subtle mentorship, Daniel quietly leading and Dwayne quietly following. However, after a few seasons, Dwayne gradually faded from the show. Unlike his brother Joey, who continued with more consistent appearances, Dwayne chose to focus more on the family's commercial fishing operations off-camera. There were no controversies or public statements. He simply stepped back into a quieter role, still active in the industry, but no longer under the television spotlight. Joey Edgar, on the other hand, has remained closely tied to the Swamp People brand. As Daniel's other son, Joey shares many of the same characteristics: a strong sense of responsibility, a love for the water, and deep respect for the traditions of gator hunting. Joey is more vocal than Dwayne and has taken on leadership responsibilities in recent seasons, especially when working with other team members or training newcomers. He's been featured operating boats, coordinating hunts, and maintaining the family's seafood business, which processes locally caught products for regional sale. As of 2025, Joey continues to appear in the series, standing in not just as a cast member, but as an evolving representation of the next generation, taking over family traditions. Ashley Jones entered the Swamp People series later than many of her peers, but made an immediate impact. Known by fans as Deadeye, Ashley broke the mold as a skilled sharpshooter and one of the few women to play a lead role in alligator hunting on the show. She partnered with Ronnie Adams and quickly earned a reputation for her precision, focus, and cool-headed presence in high-pressure hunts. Ashley came into the series with hunting experience outside the swamp and adapted to bayou life with surprising ease. Her chemistry with Ronnie was lighthearted but effective. They balanced each other with humor and teamwork. Off-screen, Ashley has been open about her life struggles, including past battles with depression. She used her growing platform to raise awareness about mental health, particularly within outdoor communities. In recent seasons, she has remained active both on the show and in advocacy work. She engages regularly with fans on social media and uses her visibility to encourage others, particularly women, to explore hunting, self-reliance, and resilience. Her presence on the show has expanded what viewers expect from a gator hunter, not just in skill, but in emotional strength. Ronnie Adams, Ashley's hunting partner, brought a bold and upbeat presence to the show. A large frame, larger-than-life character, Ronnie became a recognizable figure thanks to his deep voice, Cajun roots, and upbeat attitude. He came from a background in the oil fields before switching full-time to gator hunting and appeared on the show during its later seasons. Ronnie's style is both efficient and entertaining. He's quick with one-liners, loves to joke around during hunts, but doesn't miss when it comes to taking the shot. His partnership with Ashley Jones added to his visibility and helped create a fan-favorite duo. They were often seen laughing between tense moments, balancing the adrenaline of the hunt with genuine friendship. Outside the show, Ronnie remains engaged with Louisiana's hunting and fishing communities. He often participates in public events and meet and greets, and has used his rising profile to support local conservation efforts. As of 2025, he continues to appear on Swamp People, adding energy and humor to the newer seasons. Terrell Evans is another cast member whose presence, though not constant, left a lasting impression. Known for his serious demeanor and tactical approach to hunting, Terrell often helped other hunters track and capture problem alligators in hard-to-reach areas. He's one of the few cast members with a reputation for being called in to assist, rather than simply working a regular tagline. Terrell grew up in southern Louisiana and worked as a professional nuisance alligator hunter. His calm, methodical movements and sharp eye made him a trusted ally, especially when the job called for capturing aggressive gators that had wandered too close to homes or livestock. His expertise made him something of a specialist on the show. Though not a full-time cast member across every season, Terrell appears in key episodes when experienced backup is needed. Fans appreciate his professionalism and the way he carries the weight of responsibility seriously. Off-camera, he continues to hunt and remains active in wildlife removal throughout the southern Louisiana region. Big T, whose real name is Tess Lee, became known to viewers as the apprentice and deckhand of Daniel Edgar. Introduced in later seasons, Big T provided comic relief with his expressions, learning curve, and dedication to becoming a skilled hunter. He quickly gained a following among fans for his loyalty and willingness to take on tough jobs, even if he was still finding his footing. Under Daniel's guidance, Big T developed a deeper understanding of swamp life and began participating more actively in hunts. He showed notable improvement in his shooting and boat handling skills and became a more confident presence over time. His growth was one of the quieter, more heartwarming character arcs in the later seasons. As of 2025, Big T continues to appear on Swamp People, still working with the Edgar family. His presence brings a relatable, everyman feel to the show, reminding viewers that not every swamp legend starts as an expert, but all have to earn their way in the bayou. As the series enters its later seasons, Swamp People has moved beyond simply showing gator hunting. It has become a living archive of families, traditions, and regional survival. The newer cast members, like those before them, are not just personalities on screen. They're participants in a culture that survives through hard work, quiet pride, and the relentless rhythm of swamp life. Whether they came from family legacies or found their way in as newcomers, their stories continue to shape what the show means to those who watch it, and to those who live it every day. With that, we have reached the end of today's video. If you have come this far with us, be sure to check out other videos on the channel.